Hey y'all, it's Ryan, and welcome back to our Angels franchise here on Out of the Park Baseball 27. It is Wednesday, February 24th, 2027. We just played our first spring training game, and I wanted to start this episode here because we just got our development lab updates back for the 8 guys that we had in the dev lab over the offseason. And fortunately, or unfortunately, I guess it depends how you want to look at it, 2 of our 8 players did get positive results out of the programs they had over the offseason in the dev lab, and one of them was Trevor Condon. His play discipline program was successful, and Nolan Shonwell, his generate bat speed program was outstanding. All of the other players, they received no improvement in their programs, but 2 out of 8, 25%, I'll take that. So I'm excited to see if that helps those guys here over the course of the next few seasons. I'm going to now simulate up ahead here, probably to the end of spring training, so we can get started with the 2027 season in this episode. Okay, it is the end of March, Tuesday, March 30th, 2027, and it is opening day, although only for 2 teams. I believe it is the Rays. Yeah, the Rays and the Dodgers are kicking us off here in 2027. But spring training is finally over. Our first game is just in a couple days, Thursday, April 1st. We are opening up against the Yankees. And luckily, we did make it through spring training without any injuries, any new injuries, I should say. Of course, Ohapi and Mears are still going to be out. Ohapi for about another 2 months and Mears for another 4 months. But other than that, we did not pick up any new injuries throughout the spring, which is fantastic. And if we take a look here and we go to the mail and the news, I've just been signing a lot of minor league depth for some of my minor league teams. We're getting those rosters all sorted out here for the start of the season. The top 100 prospects list was published, and we do not have anybody in the top 10. Grady Emerson leads the way for the White Sox. He was the first overall pick in the 2026 draft. And if we take a look here at the top prospects report, our highest batter is Nelson Rada, who we are starting at AAA to begin the season, but I'm sure he'll be up relatively quickly. And then our top pitcher is no longer Tyler Bremner, who checks in at number 74 overall on the top 100 list, but now it is CJ Gray. So a couple pitchers hopefully to look forward to, and a couple batters as well. And if we take a look, we will go to the, I believe it was actually linked in the email. Yes, it was the minor league task systems. We are 22nd, so we have made a slight jump from where we started this series, but still a long way to go to build up this farm system. And of course, we will check the preseason predictions for 2027. Your Angels projected to go 71-91, which would be an improvement over what we did in 2026. Now, Artie Moreno said that we should at least try to stay close to an even record. I would like to do that, but if we could get into the low to mid 70 win range, I would be happy with that, just based on the season that we had last year. Said the ultimate goal for 2027 is just to be a competent organization at all levels. And I think at 71-91, obviously that's not a very attractive record, but it would represent a step forward for us from 2026. We are projected to score 661 runs and allow 769. Here are the rest of your standings. And in the American League, the worst team in the American League this year is projected to be the Chicago White Sox, who are going to finish about 5 games behind us with a record of 67-95. Here are your top 10 hitters and your top 10 pitchers projected in the American League. In the National League, here are your projected standings. The Braves are supposed to be the best team in the National League by just a game over both the Mets and the Dodgers with a record of 94-68. Here are your top 10 hitters and your top 10 pitchers projected, if you'd like to pause and take a look at those for the year 2027. And the best team in the American League projected to be the Tigers with a record of 94-68. So we have finally made it to the start of the 2027 season. I'm going to simulate up ahead here a little bit, and we will check back in shortly. Okay, it is Sunday, May 2nd, 2027, so about a month into the season. Your Angels 12-16, 6.5 back in the AL West, and 1 game back in a very crowded AL wildcard race to start the season. I'm happy with this. It's definitely, I feel like we're a bit more competent than we were a season ago. Offensively, we're still not too good. 15th in the American League in runs scored, and towards the bottom most of these offensive categories, but the pitching has been very, very good for us. 1st in starters ERA, 3rd in overall runs against, 8th in bullpen ERA, 6th in FIP and pitching WAR. So we'll go through first the lineups, and Vaughn Grissom has done very well in limited time, but Luis Torrens has been a very good free agent signing. We picked him up really late in the process, just before spring training on February 19th, and he's leading our team in OPS here through the first month of the season, 902, and a batting average above 300, a 362 OBP, a 540 slugging. Definitely did not expect this when we signed him. this late in the process, but he has been a very pleasant surprise for us, as has Christian Moore, a guy that obviously we did not sign. He was already in our system, but he has been really, really good. An 823 OPS. He leads our team in home runs with 12 RBIs. He's stolen a couple bases, a 124 OPS plus. He's been close to a one-win player. He was batting 7th in the lineup. I just bumped him up recently to 3 in the lineup, so we'll see how he does there. Nolan Shonowell has been pretty solid, an OPS close to 800 to 790 OPS, a batting average of 277, an OBP of 364, and a slugging percentage of 426. So all those are well above what he was doing last season. For us, 3 home runs, 11 runs batted in. He's stolen a base. So nice start to the season for Nolan. Zach Neto, he missed a couple weeks due to an injury. He just came back recently. And so far this season has been pretty good. A 771 OPS in 40 plate appearances and batting average over 300. OBP at 350. Still waiting on his first home run, but I think the power is going to come here eventually for Neto. Mike Trout having a bit more of a Mike Trout season that we would expect. A batting average of 243, but a 368 OBP, a 388 slugging percentage. So the power is not quite there like it is in real life this season for Mike, but a 756 OPS. I think the power is going to come along here eventually. And other than that, Nolan Arenado, he got off to a rough start. I think he's been picking it up recently. 631 OPS. If he can just get like above 700, I'd be pretty happy with that. Gurriel Jr. has gotten off to a rough start. You can see he's day-to-day with a hip strain. He's gotten off to a bit of a rough start, a 630 OPS. It's the same thing with DeLauder. If these guys don't pick it up, we're probably going to call up Nelson Rada here at some point in the next couple of weeks because I'm going to go into it in a minute, but he's been doing pretty well down at AAA, and I'd like to get some more offensive production where possible. So it might make sense to get these guys out of the lineup and call up Rada. Miles Straw, replacement level player, a 574 OPS, but you can see 0.0 WAR, so at least he's not killing us in the field. Pitching-wise, though, is where we're really shining, and that is on the back of our ace this season, Yusei Kikuchi, a 2 ERA and an equally impressive 1.92 FIP through the first 36 innings of the season. He had a 1.7 WAR in 2026. He's already at 1.6 this year. You can see his StatCast rankings all really, really good, so I don't expect him to keep this up, but it might help us at the deadline because this is the last year of his contract. It might help us at the deadline if he can kind of keep up this performance. We might be able to get something pretty solid for him, especially if he retain a little salary. But it's not just Kikuchi. Sean Newcomb has been a very good signing so far. Now, the FIP is much higher. It's almost 2 runs higher, a 2.42 ERA, but a 4.85 FIP. So I think the numbers are going to come down here in a minute. You can see the strikeout rate, 18.3%. That's well down from what he's done the past few seasons, and a walk rate of 13.5%. That's well up from what he's done the past few seasons. So it's probably not sustainable, this really low ERA, but we'll take it as long as we can. You can see that at his best, he will give us some innings. He pitched 6 2/3 against the Athletics a couple weeks ago. So if he can just keep doing that, and even if the ERA shoots up to, the low to mid 4s, I think I'd be content with that. He's just a 1-year signing, a guy that could eat some innings for us in the rotation. George Klassen has also had a really good start to the season, but once again, it's the same case with Newcomb. A much higher FIP than his ERA, a 2.84 ERA, a 5.09 FIP, a strikeout rate of 18.5%, but a walk rate of 11.1%. He's stranding 91.8% of the runners that he lets reach base. None of this really reads to me that this is sustainable. Some of his StatCast rankings look pretty solid, but otherwise I'd expect his ERA to come down a little bit. But once again, if we can just maybe get somewhere in the middle, if he can pitch to an ERA around 4, I'd be happy with that. Grayson Rodriguez, he's been okay, a 4.50 ERA, a 3.98 FIP. His strikeout rate is up from a season ago, a couple ticks, and his walk rate is down, which is nice. He's been a half-a-win pitcher so far. Hopefully he can keep up that. And Caden Dana, a little bit disappointed in Caden. I thought he was going to be a little bit better this season, a 4.85 ERA and a 5.52 FIP. So not quite what I expected out of Caden this year. I thought he was going to take a step forward from last season. I guess technically you could say he did because last year's ERA was almost 5.5. This year it's under 5. But I was just hoping for a little more out of Caden, and maybe he'll pick it up here as the season progresses. Bullpen-wise, Ben Joyce, nice bounce-back season for him, a 1.98 ERA and a 2.32 FIP through 14 games. He's picked up 4 saves for us. Jose Alvarado has been a really, really good signing, an ERA under 1, a FIP 2.17. He's picked up a couple saves, so that's been a really nice, pleasant surprise. Graham Ashcraft has not been quite as good of an acquisition. You remember we got him in the Rule 5 draft from the Marlins, a 6.59 ERA, but a 2.46 FIP, so it's kind of the other way. You know, a lot of our pitchers, their FIP is higher than their ERA. Ashcraft, it's the other way around. So hopefully, as the season goes on, we can kind of get his ERA evened out a little bit, and he can be a good contributor for us in the back end of the bullpen. Tyler Phillips has been a pretty good acquisition. Jose Fermin is doing his thing. Silseth, another solid season in long relief. And then Burke and Beeks, definitely want to see a little bit more out of them. But overall, pretty happy with our team. You know, as I said, we started off the season very well. We won our first 3 series. We took 2 out of 3 from the Yankees, the Nationals, and the Mariners. And then we went on a long losing streak. We had a 5-game losing streak and a win, and then another 5-game losing streak and then a win. But we just took 2 out of 3 from the Rangers and the Athletics. Let's go to May, the Athletics. And a bit of an odd May schedule that we don't play on Sunday 3 times in May. But nevertheless, taking a look here at some of our minor league systems, just a quick update. Very excited about this. Trevor Condon has gotten off to a torrid start at Rancho Cucamonga. Remember, he's 19 years old, a 370 average, a 405 OBP, and a 493 slugging. He even has a couple home runs, 8 RBIs. He's stolen 6 bases. He's already a 1-win player, so he's already pushing for a promotion. I'm going to wait a little longer. You know, he's only 19. There's not a big rush, but if he keeps hitting like this, we're definitely going to promote him here sometime soon. Jack Natilli, a 753 OPS, CJ Sampson, 713. Not much else to write home about in terms of our offensive prospects. Pitching-wise, Trey Gregory Alford has been the big surprise here the big pleasant surprise, I should say, at Rancho Cucamonga. You remember he missed most of last season because of an injury, but he's come back this season, and he's done very well so far. It's only been 17 and a third innings, but a 1.04 ERA and a 2.38 FIP. So he is, I believe, he's only 20 years old. So if he can keep this up, he's another guy that we might look to promote here. Konstantinovsky and Weston Moss have gotten off to a rough start, but their FIPs are much lower than their ERAs, so we'll see if that evens out. CJ Gray, another rough start, and his FIP is right in line with his ERA. Caleb Appleby, a good start. Take a look, and we'll go to... I want to go to the Salt Lake Bees really quick and show off Nelson Rada, who he's doing okay. You know, an 802 OPS. The power is not quite there, but of course the power is not really a part of his game. Only a 392 slugging, but a 410 OBP and a 289 average, 5 stolen bases so far. He's got caught 3 times, but he is in line for a call-up here pretty soon if he can keep this up, because I would like to try to get some more offensive production out of our major league lineup. And I think that if nothing else, a guy that can get on base and hit like Rada can, I'd like to think that that would be helpful for us. Pitching-wise here, Ryan Johnson, a 4.30 ERA, a 4.43 FIP. He's probably the guy that we would call up first if there's an opening in the major league rotation, followed closely by Joel Hurtado, who right now he has forearm soreness, which isn't great, but hopefully it's nothing major. Taking a look at the Rocket City Trash Pandas, our Double-A team, the big positive here has been Jace Borofin, who was that guy that we got in the trade with the Blue Jays a season ago. A 939 OPS through 93 plate appearances, 250 average, a 374 OBP, and a slugging percentage of 566, 7 home runs so far through just 20 games. That's actually tied for the team lead with Randy DeJesus. So a really good start for Borofin. He's pushing for a call-up up to AAA here soon, so we'll check back in with him maybe in a month or so to see how he's doing. Pitching-wise at Rocket City, Tyler Bremner has gotten off to a very, very rough start. It's only been 4 starts, but a 9.92 ERA and a 9.40 FIP. So I'm a little worried that he's not going to end up reaching his full potential, but Jackson Delana, also a bit of a rough start, a 6.35 ERA and a 5.45 FIP. This is one of the guys we got at the deadline last year. So pitching-wise, not much to write home about from Double-A, unfortunately. And then Tri-City, there's not too much here to report. But Logan O'Hoppe, he's still 2 to 3 weeks away from returning. Mears, he's still 3 months away from returning. So I'm going to send it up ahead here a little bit, maybe to June, unless something interesting happens. So I'll check back in just a minute. All right, it is 1 month later, Wednesday, June 2nd, 2027. Your Angels 24-32, 12.5 back of the division-leading Rangers in the AL West, and 4 games back in the AL wildcard race, where it seems like the third spot. Everyone is currently 28-28. So when I last left you, we were, 4 games under 500? Now we're 8 games under 500. Now if we go to team stats, you can see that April we went 11-16, May 12-16, and so far in June we won our only game against the Rangers. It's just been a season of ups and downs, which was to be expected, I think, with a roster like this. So after that series win against the Athletics, we got swept by the Guardians. We lost 2 out of 3 to the White Sox. We responded by winning 2 out of 3 against the Marlins. Then we got swept by the Blue Jays. We lost 2 out of 3 to the Brewers, but then we took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. We took 3 out of 4 from the Astros. We lost 2 out of 3 to the Rockies, but then we just took 2 out of 3 from the team that's currently leading our division, the Texas Rangers. So, there's some positives. There's some things that we'd like to see be a little better, but overall, pretty happy to be 24-32 at this point in the season. I'm not really expecting to be in the playoff race for too much longer. I think we're really just still in it because everyone is pretty mid, it seems like, in the American League. You see, we're still last in the American League in runs scored, and I'll just go back to here in team stats. So we were last in the American League in runs scored. We're 9th in batting average, 13th in OBP, 9th in slugging, 11th in OPS, 12th in batter war. Our pitchers have come back down to earth a little bit. Now we're 12th in the American League in ERA, 10th in starters ERA, second to last in bullpen ERA, 12th in runs allowed, 15th in runs scored, and 13th in pitcher WAR. Our defense has been pretty good. The defensive efficiency is only 14th in the American League, but our zone rating is 4th, and we are 2nd in errors. So, as I said, there's some positives that we can take away so far through the first couple months of the season. Very happy to be 24-32. Zach Neto still doing well, 319 average, and we'll just go to lineups here. So Logan O'Hoppe came back. That's something that I should mention. He just came back recently, so he's only appeared in 2 games. I have him right now as the backup catcher. We did waive in DFA Rafael Marchand, so he's now with our AAA team, and we called up Logan O'Hoppe, who is now back from his injury, and so far through a couple games, seeing the ball pretty well. We'll see if that continues. Zach Neto still doing well, as I said, at 907 OPS, which leads the team among our regulars. Luis Torrens has still kept up through the first 2 months of the season. The OPS has dropped a little bit, but still 835. Very impressive, especially for a catcher. Christian Moore, we bumped him up to number 3 in the lineup, and he has taken that change in stride, an 831 OPS. Mike Trout is now OPSing above 800. He is now at 10 home runs, which is tied for the team lead with Christian Moore. Angel Martinez, we bumped into a full-time starting spot recently. He currently has an OPS of 736. We just called up Nelson Rada. Again, recently, he just came back from an injury, so he is back in the starting lineup. You might see that we no longer have Lourdes Gurriel Jr. in the lineup. We waived and DFA'd him. That was just a signing that did not really work out. His WAR was minus 0.7, so I just cut my losses. We'll see if he wants to go to AAA when his time on waivers is over. I doubt that he will. So just a signing that didn't work out, and I got to a point where I'd rather give these young guys a chance to see what they can do, guys like Martinez and Rada, just to see if they can be a long-term part of our future, because Gurriel was not really giving us anything. I think these 2 guys right now will probably be better off, will probably give us more production than he did. Miles Straw has actually picked it up a little bit, 267 average, a 310 OBP. You can see he's close to a 1-win player despite the 676 OPS. Arenado has not really gotten it together at all this season, unfortunately, a 621 OPS. He's been pretty close to a replacement level player. Unfortunately, I kind of expected him to do a little better, even though he is obviously 36 years old. He's on the back end of his career, obviously. But I was just hoping he could do a little bit more like he did with Arizona in 2026 when he had an OPS above 700. Unfortunately, it does not quite seem like Nolan is going to be able to do that for us this year. Pitching-wise, as I said, we did come back down to earth. We just called up Ryan Johnson and sent down Kane and Dana. I want to see if Dana, with some time in AAA, can maybe put together some good starts, because he just really didn't have that consistency at the Major League level. So we're going to give Ryan Johnson a shot again to see what he can do at the Major League level. You see this year in AAA at 3.50 ERA and a 4.02 FIP. So he's pretty solid down there, a 1.4 win pitcher. Last year with us at the Major League level, he was dependable, over 85 innings, an ERA of 4.34 and a FIP of 4.42. If he can do something similar to that this time around, I'd be pretty happy. Kikuchi, not surprisingly, fell back down to earth, a 3.44 ERA, but a similar 3.82 FIP. Sean Newcomb, a 4.38 ERA now, the FIP 4.52. George Klassen, a 5.66 ERA, so his ERA has really ballooned since the last time we checked in, and a 5.91 FIP, so he might be going back down to AAA here soon. And Grayson Rodriguez, a 4.47 ERA, a 4.58 FIP, so no one really outstanding in our rotation. Bullpen-wise, Ben Joyce is still having a very good season, as is Jose Alvarado, a 3.03 ERA and a 2.96 FIP. Graham Ashcraft has gotten a little bit better. Tanner McDougal, we just picked him up off of waivers, and he has had a pretty rough start to his tenure as an Angel. See, he appeared in a couple games with the Twins. They put him on waivers, and with us so far, he's appeared in 3 games. He's pitched 3 1/3 innings, an ERA above 16, a FIP above 7. So I don't know how much longer he's going to be in our bullpen. I just wanted to give him a shot because we did get rid of Brock Burke. We waived and DFA'd him. He did not want to go to AAA, so he's no longer on the roster. He's no longer in the organization. Jalen Beeks might be next with a 6.28 ERA. Chase Silseth's still giving us some pretty dependable long relief out of the pen. And Tyler Phillips still doing well as a middle relief arm for us, an ERA under 3 at 2.93. So overall, we take a look at our minor league teams. Our AAA team, the Salt Lake Bees, 31-21. They are in first place. Rocket City Trash Pandas, a couple games under 500. The Tri-City Dust Devils, a couple games above 500. And Rancho Cucamonga, 19-27. And then our rookie league affiliate had just started, and they are 11-8 so far through the first month of their campaign. So I don't really think that we're going to make any crazy moves at the deadline at this point. If we do stay in the race, that'd be great just to, keep the competitive baseball going as long as we can this season. But 24-32, as I said, the goal of the season, if we could just get into the low to mid 70 win range, that would be great. And we're pretty much on pace for that at this point. So if we can just keep things going, might look to trade a guy like Kikuchi at the deadline in about a month or so. I guess it's more like 2 months, but we'll see if Kikuchi has any value at the deadline to a team. Ben Joyce is a guy that I'm not against trading because we obviously don't really have much need for a high leverage, dependable closer. And Ben Joyce, I think, would have a lot of value to a contending team that's in need of a high leverage guy to put at the back end of their bullpen. Otherwise, I don't really think that we would look to trade anybody else. Arenado, I don't think would really have too much value. He's probably more valuable to us than he would be to another team. Zach Neto, I'm not against seeing what the value out there for him is, but it would really have to blow me away. In terms of our minor league teams, the biggest change that I made was I finally promoted Jace Barofin to AAA to Salt Lake. He was tearing the cover off the ball, and I still have to put him in the lineup, but I just called him up right before I came back to give you guys updates. He was tearing the cover off the ball at AA, 272 average, a 401 OBP, and a 614 slugging. So there wasn't really any need to keep him at AA any longer. So we're going to see if he can do anything with Salt Lake. And if he does, if he can keep up the torrid pace, he definitely has a spot on the Major League roster here at some point this summer, maybe later in the summer. But we'll see what he can do. Otherwise, if we go to Rancho Cucamonga, I did want to show off that Trey Gregory Alford is still having a very good season, 2.81 ERA and even 3 FIP. Zach Konstantinovsky has improved. His ERA is down to 4.50 and a FIP of 3.79. Weston Moss at 4.66 and 4.65 in terms of the lineups. Trevor Condon, he's slowed down a little bit, a 725 OPS now, but still a 292 average and a 365 OBP. That'll play, even if the power doesn't necessarily come around, which at this point I'm not expecting it to. Our scouting director is kind of soured on Condon here over the past couple months. You can see his potential now is down all the way to 45. I still have optimism that he can be a piece at the major league level, but now it doesn't seem quite as likely. You can see some of his StatCast rankings, the average exit velocity, the max exit velocity, his home run to fly ball rate, his barrel percentage, his hard hit rate, all not very good, but there's still some positives to his game. I think he can be a piece for us somewhere down the road. He's only 19, so a lot can change. The other update, pitching-wise in the minor leagues, Tyler Bremner has just really not been able to get it together this year. Unfortunately, a 7.50 ERA and a 6.64 FIP at AA. I thought he would have taken a step forward this year. Last year at AA, he wasn't super impressive. This year, it's just gotten worse. So I don't know how much longer I want to keep him in the organization. I don't know if he might be a guy maybe we look to package in a trade for maybe another prospect that I like a little more. It's something that we might be able to explore just because I don't know if he's ever going to quite reach the heights that we were hoping that he would. Jackson Delana also struggling at AA, not quite as much as Bremner, but a 6.35 ERA and a 5.26 FIP. So unfortunately, not quite getting what we wanted out of Bremner, but admittedly, still a lot of time left in the season for him to turn things around. So it's June 2nd. I think the draft is about a month and a half away. Actually, I can check that by going to the draft. Yeah, so it's July 11th. It's June 2nd right now. And if we go to our team schedule, yeah, so we basically have all of June. And then, yeah, so it's about a week before the All-Star break this year. The All-Star break appears to be the 19th to the 21st, I would guess. So We're going to simulate up past this Braves series to probably, I guess, July 11th to the day of the draft. So I will check in here in just a minute. Okay, it is Sunday, July 11th, 2027. Your Angels 40-50, so 10 games under 500, 17 and a half games back of the Texas Rangers in the AL West, and 6.5 back of the New York Yankees in the AL wildcard race. In a season that I mentioned of ups and downs, we just went through a lot of downs. Basically, our entire lineup got injured since I last checked in. So it all started with, I think it was Zach Neto, who was slated to miss 5 weeks with an intercostal strain. And then one day later, Mike Trout strained his calf, so he's been out for the last 2 to 3 weeks. Christian Moore, not too much later, got injured. He was a hamstring strain, so he's going to be out for another 3 weeks. I called up Ariel Amador from the Salt Lake Bees, and then almost immediately he got injured with a sprained knee, so he's going to be out for another few weeks. And then just yesterday, our catcher, who was doing so well this season, Luis Torrens, he cooled off recently, but still doing pretty solid. He just got injured with a foot contusion, so now he will be out for another 2 weeks. Ben Joyce is now day-to-day for the next 5 days, so a lot of injuries over the past month or so that have really killed the lineup, made things a lot more difficult for us, and yet still, we're still hanging in there, just 10 games under 500. If we go to team stats, you can see that in June, despite all of the injuries, we still kept pace with what we did in April and May, and even by winning percentage, we did better than we did in April and May. We went 12-14, and so far in July, just a game above 500 at 5-4. So despite all the injuries, the guys are hanging in there the best that they can. The pitching staff has really rebounded. The starters are looking phenomenal. Kikuchi has an ERA now under 3. Ryan Johnson, who we called up to replace Caden Dana, has been really, really strong. A 2.41 ERA and a 3.57 FIP. So we are at the first-year player draft, and if we go here, you can see that these are your top 10 prospects, led by Eric Milner, an 18-year-old first baseman out of high school. And if we go to the first-year player draft, you remember that we have the 3rd overall pick in the draft. We were the worst team in the league, but we fell 2 spots in the draft lottery to number 3, which is okay. I think we'll be able to get a very good player at number 3 in this draft class. But just, I know we're not at the All-Star break yet, but I just want to kind of check in around the league. So if we go to standings here, you can see that in the American League, the Boston Red Sox are leading the AL East with a record of 55-34, 2.5 games up on the Baltimore Orioles, but the Rays and the Yankees both currently in a wildcard spot along with the Orioles. So all of these 3 American League East teams are currently in wildcard spots. The Kansas City Royals have a 1.5 game lead over the Twins in the AL Central. The Tigers still in it at just 4 back, and even the Guardians at only 6.5 back. And in our division, the AL West, the Rangers kind of running away with it at this point, 11.5 up on the Athletics, 15.5 up on the Mariners, 17.5 up on us. The Rangers 1.5 game behind the Braves for best record overall in the majors. The Braves 58-32, the Rangers 58-33. So in the National League, the Braves leading the NL East by 11 games over the Nationals, the Mets 12.5 back. In the NL Central, it's the Cubs up by 2 games over the Brewers, and in a very tight NL West this year, the Dodgers at 49-40, the Padres 1 game back at 49-42, the Diamondbacks 2 back at 48-43, and you can see the wild cards here. All American League East teams in the American League, the Athletics 0.5 game back, the Twins 2.5 back, and in the National League, it's an NL Central team and 2 West teams. The Nationals 0.5 games back, the Mets 2 back, the Reds 3 back, the Pirates 4 back. Taking a look at some of your league leaders across both leagues, starting with the batting leaders. Bobby Wood Jr. is currently leading the league with a .357 average, well out in front of Tyler Soderstrom, who is in second place with a .318. Gunnar Henderson leads the league in home runs with 27. Kyle Schwarber, one behind him, with 26. Jackson Merrill leads the league in RBI with 73. Bobby Wood Jr., 5.1 WAR, paces the field among all the batters. Nasim Nunez, 28 stolen bases, leads the league 3 ahead of Corbin Carroll of the Diamondbacks, and no surprise, Bobby Wood Jr. leads the league in OPS, 1.018. James Wood with the Nationals just behind him at 997. Some of your pitching leaders, Pablo Lopez leads the league in ERA this year, 92 innings pitched. He has pitched to a 2.45 ERA. And Corbin Burns leads the league in wins with 10. He is tied with Hunter Gaddis and Hunter Green. Freddie Peralta, 129 strikeouts, 1 ahead of Hunter Green of the Reds. Logan Webb, 3.4 WAR. That's ahead of Garrett Crochet and Cole Reagans. Griffin Jacks, 33 saves already as we are midway through July. And Brian Wu leads the league in innings pitched at 116 even. So just a quick check-in to the league, taking a look at our team and sorting by OPS. Logan O'Hoppe has still been doing well since returning from his injury, and now he'll have to do well for at least the next couple weeks because he is going to be our starting catcher, almost everyday catcher. A 934 OPS leads the team. No one else at this point is above 800 that is active. Nolan Shonowell at 792, so still a solid season for Nolan. I would really like to see the power numbers come up just a little bit, but a 269 average with a 361 OBP and 11 home runs. He has 7 stolen bases. Not too upset with that. Angel Martinez, a 736 OPS. Vaughn Grissom, who has been pressed into everyday duty recently, still has an OPS above 700. And that is about it. Nelson Rada has struggled since being recalled from his minor league rehab assignment, a 541 OPS. I think once we get some of our guys back from injury and we can bump him down the lineup a little more, I think that'll be helpful for him. Pitching-wise, though, a lot of positives to take away. So we sent down George Klassen, and instead of calling up Joel Hurtado, we called up Mitch Ferris, and he has had, I believe this is his second stint in the majors. Yeah, so he had a brief stint in 2025. He pitched 24 in a third inning, so this is his second go-around, and he's done pretty well. A 3.18 ERA, a 4.15 FIP, 21.6% strikeout rate. I'd like to see that tick up a little bit. A 9.6% walk rate, stranding 69% of the runners that he has allowed. So a pretty good go of it so far for Ferris in our rotation. Ryan Johnson, who we called up to replace Caden Dana in the rotation, a 2.41 ERA and a 3.57 FIP. So I guess in hindsight, I should have kept him in the rotation to start the season and sent Caden Dana down to the minor leagues to AAA to begin the season in the first place. He probably did do enough to earn a spot after what he did last season in the majors, a 4.34 ERA and a 4.42 FIP, but he's here now, and he's doing all this despite the fact that he really doesn't have that great of a fastball, which I think is pretty impressive. Yusei Kikuchi, he has been on a torrid streak recently, so his ERA is back under 3 with a FIP of 3.74. I gotta imagine there's going to be at least some interest in him, especially if we retain salary at the deadline in a couple weeks. Sean Newcomb has done pretty well too. His FIP has come down to 3.72 and his ERA is at 3.38. So pretty good signing for only $7 million. And then Grayson Rodriguez, he's had a good go of it too. His FIP is 4.65, but a 4.25 ERA and almost 100 innings of work. Strikeout rate of 20.9% and a walk rate of 7.3%. He's been close to a one-win pitcher, so all things told, our rotation has been pretty reliable this year. The bullpen, that's where some of our struggles have been. On the pitching side, Ben Joyce has got lit up recently, and his ERA has shot up to 3.60 and a FIP of 3.29, so not quite as strong as he was earlier in the season, but still, a pretty solid closer, all things considered. Jose Alvarado doing very well, a 2.24 ERA and a 3.32 FIP. And Graham Ashcraft has really turned it on here. His ERA is now all the way down to 3.10 and a FIP of 2.13. Tyler Phillips has been our most reliable middle relief arm this season, still with an ERA under 3 and 36 innings of work. Chase Silseth, solid long relief guy for us. And Tanner McDougal, he's picked it up a little bit, but he's probably going to get kicked out of the bullpen here at some point if we can find a better option. So that will just about do it for this episode. In the next episode, we will tackle our second draft. We will get to the deadline and maybe make some moves, and we will get to the end of the 2027 season that I think for all intents and purposes, it's gone pretty well for us. 40 and 50, we're 10 games under 500, but I think we're definitely on pace to hit that low to mid 70 win goal, especially once we get some of these guys back from injury. So I'm pretty happy with the progress that we're making as a franchise, and I think that hopefully we'll have some more positives to report in the next episode. As I said, it's been a season so far of ups and downs, but given where we're at as a franchise, the state we're at as a franchise, we're rebuilding, that was to be expected. So just trying to look at the positives. I think there are a lot of reasons to be optimistic moving forward. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you so much for all the support you continue to show. It really, truly does mean a lot, and I'll catch you all in the next episode. Thank you.